If you could sort of yesterday's news about Hagi, how do you react to him being brought back into your first team group?
That it was a contract issue from before my time. So the issue is solved. So both parties, the club and Hagi, came together, and now it's resolved. So then it's normal. He's back in the squad training, and it's by getting him back to his best level. That's the job now to do.
How do you feel about that from a footballing perspective then, having him as an option?
Yes, it's not an option yet, so there's a way to go, of course. But the more players you can have that can make a difference for your team, the better as a gaffer. So clearly, I'm happy then that this situation that I didn't like to have is resolved now.
You said before, as it's a contract issue before your time, does there become a point where you can get involved to try and urge both parties to sit down because you want him as a part of your team, or do you have to stay out of it altogether?
I don't want to respond to that. So that's internal business.
Dujon Sterling, new contract for him as well. What does that say about the way you and the club see him?
That Dujon showed several good things last season, this season. For me, last season more than this season. He struggled a bit with his fitness, so we need to get him better in that way. But that he deserved this new contract. We believe a lot in his qualities for the future, and he showed also in different positions that he's ready to fight for the club, for the squad. So it's important to keep those kind of players also in the club for the future.
With Dujon, is it important for him in his long-term career if he settles down into one position and isn't sort of bouncing about?
Yes, of course, but you need to also to show them that you can play 10 games in a row in that way, in that position, and then you can compete. He can compete in a lot of positions with a lot of players, but you need to show consistency, and that's what we're going to work on with him the next couple of months to get him to make him that kind of player, and then he can compete in different positions. But then the idea is to do it in one.
Is there anything to say about Giannis and the way he has behaved in the time that he's not really?
No, he behaved all the time well, and our contact was good all the time. So there was never a problem between us. We met each other a lot of times here in the building. So he did everything what you expect from a professional player. But it's in those situations it's maybe not always the case. But he's been an example in that way for sure.
How far behind the rest of the group?
You want in miles or in kilometers? No, yeah, it doesn't work that way. So Yannis trained now one time. Of course, he trained all the time with second team. We let him play also the games with the second team to keep his fitness as high as possible. So we will see the next days, the next weeks, how that is. And it's about fighting for the places in the squads, in the team. It's for him the same as for other players.
So do you have an idea where specifically Dujon will end up in terms of his position?
Yeah, I have an idea for the future, but it's too fast to say that.
Philip, just on Giannis, it's like a new signing for you, right? Is that the way you look on it, that it's somebody who can contribute?
Yes, for sure. It's a new signing in that way, because I was never able to work with him and to have him in my squad.
And in terms of this competition, we saw you take the team to the top of the group last season. Can you nail down what it is about this competition and this group that seems to bring out the best in it? Maybe?
No, it's a totally different competition than the domestic games. So you need to do other things also there, and it gets the best out of the players. It gets the best out of our crowd also. I think the European nights were the most special nights also. So I hope to see that tomorrow. But of course, we are also realistic about Lyon. It's a very good team. It's better for me than the teams we met in our group stage. I think it's the level of Benfica, who we met last season. But if you see the difference in budget, in the money they've spent with this squad, and I know a lot of players from this squad still from my time in Monaco, but also the players who they brought in for 20, 25, 32 million. It's a different world. We know that, but we're gonna fight with our qualities towards them, like we did against Betis Sevilla or against Benfica, because it was also comparable in that way.
You mentioned it there about playing at Ibrox again. How much will that give everyone a lift, the first European game at Ibrox this season?
No, everybody's looking forward to that, and I think the fans also, they love to see quality. They're demanding on that way, so they love to see also quality on the other side, as long as we win. So those are always exciting nights as a fan, I think. This Lyon team has a lot of experience, a lot of players with a really big career, like I said, in Arsenal, or Matic in Chelsea and Man U, or Tolisso in Bayern Munich, and they have a lot of young, exciting talents also, like Cherki, who's one of the stars of French football, but also the new wingers with Fofana, Nuama. Zaha also has a big reputation. They have two squads with quality players. So that's always exciting to see what we with our qualities can show against that. So I'm looking forward to that.
On Giannis, you mentioned it was a contract issue. Are you able to say if he's made a sacrifice to...
Yeah, I said both parties worked towards each other and found each other finally. So that's a good thing.
In terms of your squad selection, is Mohamed back after missing the last game?
Yes, he will be back in the squad, yes.
Any other team news?
Nothing special for the rest. The guys who were out, they will stay out. Ridwan is training with the team now the first times, but he will not be ready to be in selection yet. That's too early and too dangerous. So we need to take a little bit more time for that.
Do you feel your experience of French football helps at all coming into this game in the build-up?
Those are small margins, I think, because we always analyze opponents really deeply. So that was the same way with Malmö, and it was very important to do that, to find the right solutions because of their style of play. And so I don't think it makes a really big difference in that way.
Yeah, we pick up maximum points from your first two games in the Europa League group stage with the new format. That would feel huge, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that would feel huge, but also winning against Lyon would be a huge thing. Even a draw would be a very, very, very good result if you see the difference in budget that they can spend on transfers. So we go full for that, and we go for the 3 points, not to play only to get 1 point. But then we need everybody on his top. We need a few players who go above their level, and to have an amazing evening with the fans being like a 12th player outside the pitch, but that you feel the energy on the pitch. That's what we need also.
When you're game planning for Lyon, how much importance do you have to get to what they can bring off the bench late in games?
Yeah, of course you need to think about that, but you need to first stop also the first 11, not only the guys who come in, and not only to be focused on stopping them, but we need to hurt them also. Otherwise you're under pressure all the time. And they have so much technical qualities in the final third that they can make the difference, always with one action and one individual action. So they have 4, 5, 6 players who can do that, and they have 5, 6 players on the bench to bring on in that way. So we need to focus on the start of the game and not looking only at the end of the game. I don't have this richness in the squads to make that kind of choices, I think.
They've had a difficult couple of years, some financial problems. They're not in a great position in the league, but would it be foolish to underestimate them?
If you speak about financial problems and you go to take a look what they spent the last years, then I would like to be in financial problems with Rangers, to be honest. So it's. I don't think in that way it's not the case. So they've spent a lot. They spend a lot on experienced players, but also on young talented players. Like I said, they bought guys for 25 million. They bought 2 players in Ghent for, I think, 34 million together. So to speak about those prices, it's a different world. We know. But that's the challenge, and that's the nice thing also. You want this competition also to compete with the best. It can only make my players better to compete in that way. They learned about the Sevilla game, the Benfica games. You can grow out of that because my team needs experiences like that to become better. And this different kind of football also.
Jack was praising two central defenders, Proper and Suter, earlier on. I wondered what your assessment was on their partnership. Do you see green shoots of something quite exciting?
Yeah, it's better and better, and we have also Lyon still there, who knows his role in the squad and who is excellent in that way and showing also quality in the training. We have Nana also, who can play as centre back, or even Dujan. So the partnership has been good. It's also important with new players that you can create these connections and this partnership on the pitch, and that they can get to know each other. You can add Jefte also in that way. So half of the defense is new. Our number 6 is new. So you need to find a balance there, and this balance is better and better. What is normal also, the more you work together, if they take the right conclusions after every debrief we make of the games. And they are really hungry to get better, to make less mistakes, and that you see, and it's now positive that we have 4 clean sheets in a row.
And in a game like this, where you know it's going to be challenging ahead of the game, you talked about the budget differentials between the two clubs. Do you spend more time looking at the shape, looking at different tactical elements than you would in a normal game?
No, I have respect for every opponent. There's no difference in time in that way. Of course, there's difference in the things you train on, in the things you work on, in the details you want to give to the team. That's every time different. But I have the same respect for Ross County as for Lyon. So we will always take all the time for every opponent. And it's important that my players also respect every opponent, because otherwise, one moment you run into the wall if you're not humble and you're not focused on every detail.
Last one, please.
Just a very quick question from me before another. People were asking on Sunday with substitutes at half time, was that just a pre-planned thing to keep building him up, or was that more based on how you felt his performance in the game was going?
It was more a tactical thing, yes, in the game, and for him his role has changed this season compared with last season. In the midfield we do slightly different things, so he needs to adapt in that way. And like with every player, we showed after the images, he's hungry to learn, and he will become better in that role. He can do two roles in that midfield. He can do the role of Conor Barron also. So it's about learning and getting better in that way.
When you first came in, you spoke a lot about passing and lateral passing and using the ball purposely. How important is it when Rangers get the ball tomorrow night that they do use it with purpose and try and influence and also take the risks when it's possible?
It's very important, but it's also an important balance. You can play every ball with purpose to give the ball as the decisive ball, but then you're going to lose a lot of balls for nothing, because sometimes the moment is not there and you need to move an opponent first before you can give the decisive ball. So in that way, I think our best performance was in Malmö. And you need to move the ball, and not every ball was a direct kick forward to the strikers or the attacking player, but to get them out of position to then make the decisive passes. So we're working hard on those things. That's a crucial one in football. To have purpose, yes, but the purpose can also be to move an opponent to get the space afterwards. So purpose is not only to go as fast as possible towards the goal, because then you're going to lose the ball also very much, and you get a little bit of basketball game. That's not the idea.
A wee bit of patience from the supporters then with that?
Yes, it's an important thing in that way. And you felt it also in the second half. of the last game, and it had a lot to do with this penalty just before halftime, so it makes everybody nervous. But then players need to stay calm on the pitch and not to go in those emotions, because otherwise we start to play kick and rush football, and the fans will not be happy with that also at the end.
Okay, second one.
Please.